That's all right. Let's bring on our special guest today. Extra special guest. Ben is here. Well, hey, Ben, we were just arguing just now. Not arguing, more of questioning. Can you tell us the correct pronunciation of your last name?
Oh, yeah, sure. Rabizadeh.
That's exactly what I said.
I told you.
I told you that. That's what I said.
Oh my
Wait,
gosh.
Rabizadeh.
Yes. Thank you for that intro. We got extra special hosts here, and Spencer and Aaron.
Extra
Honored to
special.
be
We
here.
got
That's what we do.
only extra special hosts for our extra special guests. Ben, I gave you a quick intro earlier for people that are new here. Ben runs StoryTrading. You can follow it on Twitter. The handle's up there on the screen. I'll also drop the link to the website in the chat. But Ben's been a recurring guest on our show, friend of the program. Came on, what is it now, about 6 months ago. Biggest claim to fame was August. So
Air. Yeah, that's how it kicked off.
that is about 6-7 months ago. Air, AHR. Ben gave us that one at like, what, $3-4. It ended up running at 20.
Yep.
So great pick from Ben. We've also gotten a few other picks, including, what is it, SMBI?
SMSI. Actually, it's a good you bring that up. I wasn't going to talk about this, but just the 30-second update for those who are still tracking SMSI. Yesterday, they had a big product release with T-Mobile. T-Mobile finally launched the SMSI app. It's called T-Mobile Family Mode, and I think, and a lot of people in our community think it's an inflection point for the company. So you saw the stock go up like 10% yesterday. It's up another 4% today. So just real excited about that. We actually wrote a little update for Benzinga, and it's in the news feeds.
Wait. I'm sorry. What was the ticker on that?
SMSI.
Yeah.
Oh, for some reason it wasn't showing up. That's weird, but now it is. Okay.
All right, Ben. So if you want, you are able to share your screen. I understand you have a stock today that we want to talk about. It actually goes very well with our theme for the day, which is just identifying potential short squeezes, different stocks, of course, that we saw running in the past, that we saw running again yesterday while you were talking about AMC, GameStop, Bed Bath & Beyond, Cost, Naked Brands, you name it. Those stocks were running yesterday. Ben's got one for us today, and he's going to go ahead and share us his story.
All right, great. So first, just quick disclaimer, StoryTrading is not an investment advisor, neither am I. So StoryTrading, we look at things based on our 4 pillars of sentiment, catalyst, fundamentals, and technical. So as I go through this story on KODK, it's ticker symbol KODK, I'm going to be referencing those 4 pillars. Now, this we gave this presentation Sunday night to the StoryTrading community, so some of these slides might be a little outdated. It says last trade $6.56. I think it's around $7 now. But I did update some because there was new information that came out yesterday. So here's the chart again from Sunday night on KODK, and we're going to be looking and analyzing, trying to learn the price action based on those 4 pillars as we just talked about. So I'm going to go into the story of how I got into this trade. I'm still in it. I put the stock on watch, right? I put this on watch because we get lots of tips from different collaborators, different people. In this case, there's someone by the name of Rexman. I'll give you his handle on Twitter later. Really great technician. And a couple of weeks ago, he put out a list of basically stocks that can short squeeze, right? KODK was one of them. Tilray was another one, which I'm actually holding. And it looks like it's squeezing right now. And so I had it on watch, but I didn't go in because I'm not a technical trader. I'm a story trader. I need more than one pillar, right? So I had it on watch over here. And I said, you know what? Does he think it's squeezing because of sentiment? It did go from $2 to $60 last year. So maybe it's just squeeze sentiment. People think, oh, this thing's going to squeeze again. But that still wasn't enough for me. I didn't get in. I had it in my mind, had it on my watch list. Also, like cameras, like KODK, right? What's nothing sexy about that, right? No one likes a camera company like GoPro has very poor sentiment, and the stock is kind of undervalued because of that. So I had it on my watch list, and then what happened? The catalyst started hitting, all right? Then it came. We had 2 days after the earnings report in mid-March, we saw huge insider buying by Kennedy Lewis Investment Manager and director of the company. He bought 2.7 million shares on the open market. That was 3.4% of the outstanding shares, mostly in one day. It caused the stock to spike from the 20 DMA to the 200 DMA in one session, which you can
Holy
see right
cow.
here. Yeah. So I actually bought right after I saw that insider get in. I said, all right, Rex knew something. All right. Like, now we got another pillar. Now it's not just the technicals of squeeze potential, but now it's a catalyst of an insider buy, right? So I bought it, and then the buying continued. Another director a couple days later buys 18,000 shares. Not as big, but maybe is not as wealthy as a guy, Michael Silek, but I'll take that. And then yesterday there was here from Benzinga Pro. Look at that. Benzinga Pro had it. KLM, that first director who bought like 2.7 million on the open market, it looked like he added another couple million. Well, the details of the purchases aren't clear, but now it's a 7.8% stake. So this director and the other director, they are buying up the stock of Kodak. So what the heck is going on? I thought to myself over the weekend before that 13D came out yesterday, is there a fundamental reason why these directors are buying? Let's dig a little deeper. I have a couple fundamental slides for you from Y charts. We have EV to EBITDA is 6.89, 6.9, not too expensive. EV to revenue, very low. So that's all good. I look at this, institutional ownership is going up, short interest is going down. Something could be going on here. As I said, the buying started right after this earnings release, and you can see the numbers look good. Revenue is rising, income's rising, operational EBITDA is rising, strong balance sheet. So that's all good. So everything's improving. And by the way, that there was a blackout period, so it's obviously bought right after blackout period ended. But I didn't see anything which stood out in that press release that makes it exciting for me. It's still, just a boring camera company. So I said to myself, was there something on the conference call? I went to get to the conference call transcript, and yes, there was something on the conference call, and it's a doozy. Now, what I'm about to show you is the conference. Now, I'm not showing you the conference call transcript. I'm going to show you the slide deck that accompanied the conference call transcript, because they were basically reading from this slide deck, okay? And here it is. New initiatives in advanced materials and chemical business. Material manufacturing. Over the past several years, Kodak has been using its pilot coating facility to work with battery developers to coat their materials on substrates for EV energy storage batteries. Here's a key point. Full-scale production. They're now repurposed one of their machines for full production of coating these EV batteries. So I said, aha, that must be the reason that these directors are buying. That's my supposition. And then you can find additional supporting information that they're hiring people. It says, this is a startup opportunity serving the electric vehicle market. Come join us and be part of the transformation to clean energy. This is Kodak. So why is this significant other than the obvious, right? What I found very interesting about this statement is that it said over the past several years, they were piloting this, but they're only revealing it now. Why would they only reveal it now? There's no mention of EV batteries anywhere on the website. There's no other prior press releases about this. They were silent about this quarter after quarter after quarter after quarter, just silence. Then all of a sudden they put this out in a kind of quiet way, and there was no Q&A on the conference call. They just hung up, and as soon as that ended, the blackout period, the director purchases 3.4% of the company. So I think they were a little bit quiet about this because he wanted to make these open purchases. They didn't want to put a press release out there. They legally fulfilled their obligation, I guess. And the other thing about the language that I love, why it's significant, is because based on the language, it looks like they're now ready to ramp to production, or at least it says they're exploring production, but based on the insider buying, I think those insiders know that hopefully massive production orders are going to be coming. So now I want to revisit sentiment. It's not just cameras anymore. They're entering one of the hottest spaces on the market, EV batteries. And in fact, again, they've been working on it for 3 years already, and they're likely ramped to production. A quick look at the technicals here, as I showed you earlier. What's very significant for me is this big move here. There was no retail chatter on it. This was purely caused, I think, by 3 million net share buying that day by the insider. And then you have 200 DMA support. So this gave me by looking at the technicals and the sentiment catalyst, everything gave me very strong conviction to enter down around here at the 200 DMA. I don't think it's going lower. So we collaborate with Rexman. I told you earlier, his handle is Rexman74. This is a chart he shows. It says KODK holding and rebounded above the long-term resistance breakout lines. Currently, there's a major trend breakout at the circle. If the breakout holds, this can test former highs from previous years. So potential big upside with basically, I think, almost no risk of downside at the 200 DMA. Again, summary of those 4 pillars: fundamental, solid, and improving; catalyst, huge insider buys, huge, and entering the EV battery space. Technicals, again, 200 DMA support, look for targets above; and sentiment, no longer just about cameras. So I think this might be primed for some exciting action.
There you go. And Ben, so
This is interesting.
I love, one of the things I love about having you on the show, we get a lot of people that come on the show that, pitch us a stock or talk about some trade ideas, whatever. You always come so very well prepared. You do your due diligence. It's very evident. And the other thing I like is just like you, I'm not really, I wouldn't call myself a technical trader. I wouldn't say I'm really like a fundamental trader either. I kind of just try to take in everything and then make my decisions based on the information I have available. Now, with that said, I don't love this pick right here. And here's why. I'm just trying to give you some devil's advocate, and I think we can agree on, strategy, how we come to the, without having to agree on every single, stock if we like it or not. I don't like when companies seemingly try to just like say what, like we saw KODK say they were a vaccine play. We saw them say they're an NFT, like crypto play. Now they're saying they're an EV play. It sounds to me that they're just trying to like throw shit at the wall and see what sticks in terms of what attracts investors. Now the flip side to that is KODK's main business of producing these old digital cameras, whatever it is very antiquated. So if they do, this is the argument I've heard in the past, that they have these factories, they have this infrastructure that's not being very well utilized because there's not a lot of demands out there for cameras. What can we use this infrastructure for? I do think there's ways to kind of pivot from there. I just don't, KODK, after seeing what they've done the past 3 years and saying like what they want to get into, what they've tried to say to entice investors, to me, it is more of a red flag than it is a reason to want to buy the stock.
Okay, let me respond to that. I think that you're speaking to sentiment a lot over there, which is important. It's actually one of the most important factors in the market, I believe. And it's actually a misnomer and a misperception that they're just in cameras. They have a huge chemical business with all sorts of chemical. It's a lot. You go to their website, you can see a whole big section of chemicals and coating processes. And so it's not like they just jumped into EV out of nowhere. They're leveraging their experience in coating materials and different chemicals, and they've been working in the EV battery space for 3 years. And that's what's so crazy, is that they've been working on this quietly, and now it's ramping to production, right? So it's not such a big jump. If you go look at their website, you'll see the diversification of their business is not just cameras, but it's a big chemical business. And then the other thing I'll add to that is that move from 2 to 60 had something to do with getting a grant from the government for coronavirus, I guess, but I'm not sure if it worked out. But in this case, you have huge, massive insider buying on the open market also. Like, to me, that's like one of the strongest indicators that whatever's happening now is a fundamental inflection point for the company. So that's how I put two and two together. And they listed 4 new initiatives in the conference call transcript. The EV business was the first one they mentioned, the first one they focused on. And to me, it's the most obvious, that has, the biggest TAM. And that's probably, I'm thinking, the reason why the directors are buying is that this probably is a big business. That's my guess coming up.
Okay, and I do want to clarify, like I said, I think there is value in saying, okay, we have, these factories or this infrastructure, these materials, but we need to pivot. We need to do something. So I'm not saying it's dumb for KODK to try to get into the EVs. I'm just saying I would feel better about this right now, about KODK going into the EVs, had they not already, gotten into becoming a vaccine player, an NFT play, and now it's an EV play. I'm rooting for. I want EVs. I want to continue to see that industry grow. I'm long that space. So that's my thought on it.
It's good to get that thought. I love getting that feedback, because obviously the market is always weighing the bull versus the bear thesis, and a lot of it is based on sentiment, a ton of it. And part of what I do is try to get feedback from all sorts of people, whether it's reading social media posts, collaborating with people in our community, and the most important thing is actually sentiment. That's what causes when you have a fundamentalist looking at what's the fair value for the stock. Stocks hardly ever trade at their fair value. They always trade at a premium or a discount. And they do so because of sentiment, right? Because of perception. What's the perception out there? And a lot of times the biggest re-ratings you get in stocks is when sentiment shifts and sentiment changes. So it's so valuable to have your feedback on that. It doesn't move me, but it's good that it's good to hear that, because it makes me understand the market better, right? So if when additional catalysts may happen on this, I can kind of predict how are the market participants going to react or not based on that.
And oh, sorry, go ahead, Spencer.
No, I first I was going to say I think the official textbook definition of this of what this is called, this whole thing, I think it's called a pivot. Pivot? I just wanted to play that video. Okay, so that was the first thing I wanted to do. Second thing is, I can, even though I am sort of in the camp as Bree, I can appreciate that it seems like they learned from the vaccine mishap, where now they're kind of slow playing or underplaying this. The insider buys are not to be ignored. That's
agreed.
That's a valuable piece of insight.
I love insider buys. Talk about them all the time on the show.
We love insider buys. So I think it's fair to say, though, that this is a show me story, as they say on cable news. Show me story. They have to prove that they can do it. When they do, if they do, then yes, it will cause a massive re-rating of the stock.
And that was, again, I just wanted to reiterate that point, was that this story, I'm just saying I would be more highly convicted on it had we not had these other things in the past. And someone in the chat pointed out that Kodak themselves weren't saying, right, someone said they never said vaccine, but we're talking about sentiment right now, Ben. And when the stock had run in the past, that was the sentiment out there. That was, oh my God, Kodak, look what they're doing with this chemical. They're getting into vaccines. They're getting a grant from the government. That was the sentiment. I'm not saying Kodak said it.
Yeah, not a vaccine. It was just a drug to fight the virus.
It was just a drug to fight the virus.
Right. So correct the record.
Or the sentiment was that, Kodak has an easy way to get into NFT, whatever the sentiment is.
The NFT thing. Oh.
Right. So
right. So you're saying basically there were false alarms before based on
it's almost like man or boy who cried wolf. Right. This could be the real pivot that takes Kodak from a $7 stock to a $100 stock, and I might miss out on it because I'm thinking about what's happened in the past. Right. So I'm rooting for you. I'm just letting you know why maybe my conviction isn't as high. Had this pitch come up without the NFT or the vaccine thing.
I think without the insider buys, I'd be totally on your page. I wouldn't have the conviction either. If it was just something on the press release, hey, we're going into these new businesses, that wouldn't be so newsworthy to me that they're trying to get into EV batteries. But combined,
and honestly, I still might follow you on this trade because I love insider buys that much, right? Spencer and I
linchpin. It's that I got in because of the insider buys, but I was questioning why. Right. And to me, this is why. It's the EV battery business.
If anyone wants to read a really good article, it's a long article. It's from The Atlantic. It came out last summer about sort of the rise and fall of Kodak. I'm going to drop the link in the chat right now. It's from The Atlantic. I remember reading it last summer. I
don't love everything Atlantic does, but they do some good work. Some deep dives.
Yeah, they do some good deep dives, and it's a long article. But if you're into Kodak, you should probably check it out. It's really just about how they were the kings, and then they were not the kings, obviously, anymore.
All right, guys. So at StoryTrading on Twitter, you can also follow. Wait, Ben, that's not you have a personal Twitter too,
I
right?
do have a personal. I try to push my brand. Personal is Ben Rabizadeh. I post on both of them.
All right, I'll do you a favor. I'll post that link in the chat. I'll post the link to the website as well, StoryTrading, just because there's always some good info there. Always a pleasure to have you, Ben. Like I said, I love a lot of times we'll have guys on that are like, yeah, I like this stock. It's a good stock, you know, and they don't really have a full-fledged pitch. You come on with the pillars.
He's thought this through a little bit.
And like I said, I'm like you, Ben. I don't like to rely solely on the chart. I like hearing the story.
I can't do technical trading. Drives me nuts because it's just trading numbers. It's not interesting. I got to understand the story. I'm trading companies and stories, not numbers. So not my thing. Hate technical trading.
Like, and even if we don't agree, we can at least appreciate. I can appreciate anyone that like takes the time to like try to convince me, you know. And it's not just like surface level BS. So you know,
I mean, think about all the people who had like called Kathy Wood or Gene Munster crazy about Tesla, then they come back in 5 years and are like, "Who's crazy now?"
Boom!
Bitch.
Thanks a lot, Ben.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.